energy of love is within us and is us. Whole and complete is the I am that we are. We awaken to the truth of our being. We will this be done within and without. May we come to recognize that we receive all that we give. We know that we have forgiven ourselves when we forgive others of all grievances held within our minds. May we not be led in temptation by the voice of separation, but instead may we transcend all illusions. For ours is the power, peace, and love of Christ, consciousness, found within each of us, who is but the perfect extension of the one mind and heart that is shared by all, and is our birthright as the holy extensions of love itself. Our affirmation of faith. We believe in one God, the author and energy of all life, whose love sustains the universe and all things found within it. Our 5 Christ principles. Number 1, there is only one energy in the universe. That energy is love, and at all times active in everyone, everywhere. 2, we are the divine energy of love. That energy is found throughout the universe and in all things, whether seen or unseen. 3, we create our experiences by what we choose to think, feel, and believe, thereby establishing our responsibility for our own choices. 4, through opening our heart center, we connect with the energy of love and bring out the Christ within us. 5, we express our desire to be of service when we live and demonstrate Christ consciousness in all our affairs. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to all of those who are here, those who are watching right now, and to those who will watch later. I'd like to go ahead and say good morning, Jim. I know that you are watching and you had said good morning to us. Welcome, and welcome to the Church of Christ Consciousness. We are here for those who are ready, truly ready now to live the truth of their being. I'd like to thank Bobby for starting us off this morning, and for Marvin for the great music we've had already. And today I'm going to do a topic I think that sometimes we're familiar with, especially those on a spiritual path. If you grew up in a traditional religious setting, then this may be kind of new. But here's the cool thing. I've titled today's talk from something that was said over 160 years ago. And let's see if you can guess maybe who said it. This person said, and it was a man, said, the best way to determine the future is to create it. Instead of predicting the future, create the future. Who was that person? It was Abraham Lincoln. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Abraham Lincoln said that over 160 years ago. So, what I'm going to talk about, some people will say, oh, that's New Age. Well, Abraham Lincoln said it a long time ago. One more time, the best way to predict the future is to create it. You would be surprised at how many people I talk to every week who do not understand or recognize they are the creators of what they experience. And I'd like to give Bobby a shout out, because we had a really good conversation on this this past week. But what do I mean by we are the creators of our future? Most of us think that as we go into what we consider to be the future, that things just happen. That's not wholly the truth, and it never has been. The thing I want you to first understand is that we were made and created in the image and likeness of God, who is a creator. That whole likeness part means that we are a creator as well. And what we think in this moment, what we're thinking of right now, is what we will ultimately see and experience in what we call the future. If I'm in a sour mood, in this moment, and I have that voice, that committee that runs, telling me how bad things are and all of that stuff, well, is it any wonder then why my tomorrows will rot? They will stink. Because of what I'm putting into tomorrow and this moment. I do need to say this, though. In truth, tomorrow never comes. When we get there, it will be this moment. It is always and only this moment. No matter what the calendar may say, what day of the week it is, what month it is, when we arrive at that point, it will still be today, this moment. Yet, what I am doing in this moment, what I am thinking of, and what I am feeling in my heart, I will see and experience. You will do the same. So I'm going to ask you to do something. Think for a moment about what you've been thinking about and feeling just over the last, say, hour. Where was your mind? Where was your heart? Was it present in this moment? Were you back somewhere in the past, thinking you could have done something better or different, or you wish something had changed? Or are you in fear and worry about what's coming? Maybe a bill is due. You're in anxiety. There's a problem with that. The problem is you're outside the moment. The second problem is you are truly creating what your future will be like from the very thoughts you think and the feelings you feel. As often as possible, I advise people to be cognizant of what you are thinking always. Even an errant thought. Something that goes like this. Well, that person's mean. Something happened and they said something that you didn't like. You don't say anything. It's just, But you think, that person's mean. In that moment, that judgment is a statement that I'm a victim to another person's words. I've said 1,000 times, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. We heard this when we were little. Why did we forget it? It seems like adults let words hurt them. They're just words. The problem is the victim mentality that brings. And that victim mentality has a feeling that goes with it. And together between the thought and the feeling, you will create more experiences of being a victim. So Abraham Lincoln was correct. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Well, in this case, I can predict your future. If you're thinking of victimhood and you feel like a victim all the time, you will create experiences of where you're a victim. And I can say, well, I can predict what you're going to experience. You're going to create more experiences where you feel like a victim. But here's the cool part. Change it. Change it. And now I'd like to share a story. I had shared in one of the classes earlier that I belonged to a very small mastermind group. It's a group of guys. We get together once every 2 weeks via phone. We go over certain exercises that we give each other. 2 weeks ago, we were given the exercise to look at whatever was occurring and follow the thought. Follow it within to find out why we were experiencing what we were. Well, as I began to follow certain things and had certain experiences happen, I realized that I thought I wasn't being heard by someone. Well, the thought that I'm not being heard, yes, can be interpreted as being a victim. And I kept following the thread. Why is it that I'm creating experiences where I believe I'm not being heard? Followed it deeper. Looked at the feeling. Followed even more of the thoughts. This past Thursday, I was in the mastermind class. One of the guys in it said, "Eddie, may I ask you a question?" I said, "Yes, please do." He said, "Can you tell me what you're afraid of?" And I said, good question. I said, "To be honest with you, I've looked at that. I can't seem to follow the thread to the fear of what it is about not being heard." And so he began to ask some other questions. And then he hit it. One question. And bells and whistles went off within me. He said, "Here's my next question. When you go to speak where you feel like you haven't been heard, are you tentative in what you're saying, like you don't want to say it?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I can see that. I will accept that." So we talked a little longer. He said, "So what is it that you're afraid of?" I said, "Well, I can tell you right now, it finally hit me. Marianne Williamson was right all along. We are afraid of our own power, standing in our own power and authority." And I recognized that what I thought was where I was labeling people not hearing me was because I was speaking tentatively. I was speaking from a place of fear. I was emitting that fear of my own power. So how else were they going to interpret it? That's what I was putting out there, and of course I wasn't being heard. It wasn't the other person that was doing it at all. They were just literally interpreting the energy that I was speaking with. Later in the conversation, I went, no wonder. I feel like sometimes people haven't heard me. And so, at the end of the conversation, the same guy said, what are you going to do differently? How are you going to change it? And I was like, I got to do some thinking about that one. And he said, well, before we hang up, throw out some ideas. So I did. And then this person said something that I really did hear. He said, do not confuse power with anger. Do not confuse power with force. For true power is of God. It remains humble. Yet, there is authority. And he said, look at Jesus. When he was here, he spoke with the power of God, but he did it in a humble way. He put it out there, and what he said was either accepted or it wasn't. He didn't force his beliefs, what he knew to be true, on anyone. He just shared it with the authority of the Christ that was in him. And I heard that. Speak, create with the Christ that is within you. You don't have to worry about them predicting the future, because you will know that you are creating it right now, right in this moment. And you will know that everything that comes at you is for your highest good, no matter what that might be. So I will finish today with, even though I thought I wasn't being heard, it was still for my highest good. Because do you know what it was? It wasn't that I wasn't being heard. Is that I wasn't being true to who and what I am, standing within my own power, in humility, being humble, and saying with love what it is that I need to say. Boy, was that a wake-up call, because it's made me look at some really deep things. And as I shared with the guys in the group, most everyone I know has worked and done a ton of forgiveness work. But this is what, in A Course in Miracles, is said, is the stuff that is found in the darkest recesses of the mind. And to trust that the Spirit will bring it up and you will see it so that you can forgive it and have it corrected. And that's what I feel like happened. So I can stand here and say this. Knowing what I know now, I know that I can speak and be heard. I can create that from the thoughts and feelings that I think this moment, and the way I present it from a place of love, not through fear. And that is what I'm asking everyone to do. Create your future. If you live in fear, you will create a fearful future. If you live in love, it doesn't matter what happens. You will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are okay. Always. No matter what is happening out here. Because you will know within you that you are loved. That you are loving. And that you are that very love itself. Created in the image and likeness of God, of love itself. So I'll end with this. You can either be fear or be love. Fear isn't fun. Look at what it creates. Be love. And now go experience what love can create. It's infinite. This world is our playground. It's much more fun to play in love than it is in fear. So go love this week and create a future that is loving, not one that is wrought with fear. Thank you.
Let's get comfortable and start with getting centered and breathe out. Breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in, I am, and breathe out. Breathe in, I am, and breathe out. Let your breathing set its own rhythm. As you breathe in, feel the freedom of sitting in this moment with no present, no past, just here now. Listen to the gentle flow of the music and feel the gentleness in the air. As you softly breathe in and out, feel peace. Remember who you are. A loving thought held in the mind of God. Find the peace in that. And as you gently breathe, picture what happiness looks like. What do you see? What do you feel when you hear the word joy? And breathe in joy. And breathe out love. Create your future now. Breathe in joy. Breathe out love. And sit in this moment. As the thoughts arise, feel their energy, their feelings of peace, love, or joy. Bless them. Thank them. If the feelings are not of peace, love, and joy, thank them for showing you where you need to or desire to give forgiveness, to change fear into love. Breathe in the joy of this moment, every moment this week, and breathe out love.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you again to those who are here, those watching, and to those who will watch later this week. If you would like to know more, you can find us on our website at www.ulchurchofchristconsciousness.org. I would like to thank Marvin, Miss Penny, Miss Bobby for their help this morning. And if you would, silently say with me our closing prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I have, and all that I receive. We give and receive in love. Amen. Thank you, and have a great week.